Dan Hooker doesn't go nowhere. He's like a weed. You can try shut it down, you can try kill it, but I'll fight through it.
This one should be hype meat. It's almighty Arnold Allen taking that fat win streak against Dan Hooker, the hangman, who returns to 145 after, I guess you could call it a rough stretch at 155, at least recently. I mean, he did sneak in that win over our boy Hazrat Nakparas, but when he ran into the best of the best in this division, it didn't go well for him, right? I mean, he got smoked by Poirier. That was a unanimous decision. Got knocked out in the first round by Michael Chandler in Chandler's debut. And then most recently, it was short notice. Props to him for even stepping up, but he got obliterated by Islam Makhachev. And you got to give props to Dan Hooker because he kind of realized that while there are a lot of lightweights he can beat, it seems like he was very self-aware and sort of resigned to the fact that he can't beat the best of the best at 155. And he's mentioned it many times. He wants to be a champion, and if there was no available pathway at 55, then you can kind of understand the move down to 145, where against a guy like Arnold Allen in your 145 return, I mean, if you take out Arnold Allen, who is a guy on a huge win streak, I mean, Dan Hooker is going to just immediately insert himself into the featherweight title discussions. I mean, if he gets this win over Arnold Allen, then he's right up there. So, what are your thoughts on this one? Because Arnold Allen, I mean, as mentioned, fat win streak, 17 and 1 overall, picked up great wins. I mean, he retired Gilbert Melendez, he smoked Nick Lentz, aka the Carney, and most recently, he just sort of walked through Sadiq Youssef. I mean, Sadiq did have his moments in that third round, but Arnold Allen just methodically just went through Sadiq in the first and second round, and it's not always like the sexiest performances from Arnold Allen. Like he's not going out there and just one punch starching dudes, but you can tell he's got a very well-rounded skill set. Doesn't seem like there are many observable holes in his game, but he's taking on a huge guy in Dan Hooker, who is a true levels test. A true fighter and a true dog. So, what are your thoughts on this one? It's a near pick 'em. Hooker versus Allen. Who are you taking?
Yeah, no, this is such a great fight. Honestly, a fight for the hardcores because everyone loves Arnold Allen and everyone loves Dan Hooker, so you kind of hate to see one of these guys take an L. But I don't know why I'm leaning Dan Hooker. Arnold Allen's probably the safer bet, but I've been really getting into his interviews of Dan Hooker and just like his mental state and how he's been training, and he just seems dialed and focused, and like you said, he's a big 145er, so I think he's going to come back to that division, do very well, and Arnold Allen's a great test to see if he still belongs here. Very excited. I think it's going to go the distance, but you just never know. I it wouldn't surprise me if Hooker, hangs him up with a nice little uppercut KO. But yeah, I'm going with Dan Hooker, unanimous.
Yeah, good stuff. And decision kind of seems safe, and Tapology is sort of singing a similar tune. I mean, 68% is rolling with Almighty Arnold Allen, 32% for Dan Hooker. But if you look on both sides, I mean, there's a lot of beige, so it seems like Tapology is bullish on this fight going the distance for sure. Would you say that, if you look through Arnold Allen's resume, I mean, took out Sadiq Youssef, Nick Lentz, Gilbert Melendez, Jordan Rinaldi, Mads Burnell, and Makwan Amir Khani. Would you say that this would be the stiffest competition that Almighty Allen has seen just yet?
Yeah, no, this is a great levels test for Allen. Dan Hooker is no joke, you guys. So this is gonna be very mind-blowing for me if Allen gets it done, but it would not surprise me. He's just been looking better and better, and that's a crazy win streak. So he'll probably get top three, top five, maybe even a title shot after this. Like, to beat Dan Hooker, you got to be the top five type of fighter because he is no joke. And that's why I'm kind of leaning Dan because I really think his mental state is back, his training is insane, and he just sounds like he's in a really good place. And I think this might be too much for Allen, but I could be wrong. But I kind of hope Dan Hooker uses his big body, big strength, and does some grappling because versus Nasrat, he looked pretty darn good with the grappling and kind of controlling him, and I could see him controlling Allen because I think he's a lot bigger than Allen. I could be wrong. Maybe Allen's a lot thicker. It'll be interesting to see them in the face-off this week, though.
Yeah, great point. And Dan Hooker is bigger, right? He's 6 foot. Arnold Allen's only 5'8", and Dan Hooker has a near 6 inch reach advantage. I do wonder who will have the strength advantage, however, because Arnold Allen is, he's a jacked guy, right? He's pretty strong. He's pretty powerful in there. But I'm with you. I think Dan Hooker might even have a strength advantage as well. Last question before I give my pick. Um, any thoughts on how Arnold Allen's the co-main event, right? This is the biggest fight, biggest opportunity he's ever had. It's in front of his hometown crowd, and it's immediately after Paddy Pimblett fights. Are you at all worried for Arnold Allen? Like, I mean, Paddy Pimblett is going to get the greatest explosion of the night, and then suddenly you're going to have to sort of follow that up in front of this raucous hometown UK crowd. So, any thoughts on how that might play into the psyche, and might it be a little bit too much, a little bit too much pressure for Arnold Allen? Could that be a thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a good point because this is Arnold Allen's, I mean, first time he's been on a UFC poster. People, the hardcores know Allen, but soon the casuals and the newcomers and the locals that are going to watch this fight at the UFC in London are going to know who he is. So that could get to him. The pressure could be a little weird. And it's a bizarre feeling, I'm sure, if you're not built for it. So there's a lot of levels test for Allen. So it'll be very interesting to see how he performs with the big spotlight that Patty and then Aspinall right after. Like, this is a crazy card for these guys getting this kind of fandom and fame. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles it. We already know Hooker has it in the bag. This is nothing. He's done it all. He's been with the best main events, etc. So it'll be very interesting to see how he handles that kind of pressure.
Yeah, right. Hooker, multiple main events, and I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting scenario where Arnold Allen is higher. He has a higher placement on the card, yet he's going to receive a sliver of the pop that Patty brings to the O2 for sure. So this one should be fun. I'm with you though. I'm rolling Dan Hooker. I think that this is going to be, like you said, just maybe a little bit too much for Arnold Allen. And that's not to dismiss Arnold Allen at all. Like, I think this guy is potential future champ worthy. I just think that Dan Hooker, I'm getting that same vibe that you are. He seems like he's in a great spot mentally, and I don't know, from what I've seen of Arnold Allen, it almost, and maybe my armchair psychology is a little bit off here, but it seemed like the pressure is kind of weighing on Arnold Allen from the commentary and stuff that I've seen from him. So we'll see if we got this one meet. Again, 68% is bullish on Arnold Allen, 32 for Hooker. It's in near pick'em. The line's kind of fluctuated a little bit, but seems like Vegas is pretty torn. But I'm with you. Gonna roll with the Hangman for sure. So hell of a co-meet. Very stoked for it. Any last thoughts?
No, definitely a great fight. It seems the odds makers kind of have it on the button, a pick 'em fight. I do agree. This is a very great matchup for both these guys. Excited to see. Cannot wait. Throw in the comments who you guys got, the Hangman or Almighty.